Welcome to the Life of Hair. My name is James Atkinson, and you join me today for a special episode because this lady who sits in front of you has been one of the cornerstones of a lot of the things that I have learned in my professional career. Now, she's not a hairdresser and she didn't personally teach me. She is actually a teacher, ironically. But Laura has been a client of mine for many, many years, and what Laura has allowed me to do is ultimately experiment on her. Over the years, we have done an abundance of colours, in fact some of which I will show you on the screen right now. And in this journey, we've both learnt a lot about brightly coloured hair and just hair in general. Now, Laura's hair is a bit rogue. It does some very, very unusual things at times. And by the way, just in case you can hear any kind of pitter-patter, there's a lovely little Scotty dog down here wandering around the studio, which is Laura's school dog. So Laura has allowed me to experiment and do lots and lots of different things to her hair over the years, and not all of these things have gone wrong, and not all of these things have gone right, but I've had the opportunity to correct things, sort things out, and learn on the job, Laura being a fantastic and easygoing customer. Now, everybody needs a Laura. I've said this in one of my videos previously. You will have seen Laura's hair. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you will have seen Laura's hair in other videos that I've done. I think there's probably 2 or 3 on Laura's hair now. But today I thought it'd be great to bring Laura in and kind of get a quick insight really into what it's like to be a client with brightly coloured hair, and what are the things that you should think about if you're a client with brightly coloured hair, or want to have brightly coloured hair, or wear brightly coloured hair, and you know, the kind of journey from the client's perspective. We are going to refresh Laura's colour today as well, as part of today's job, but you know, I think it would be actually fair to say that it's looking alright. It's not normally looking alright at this point. We did a colour last time, and I'll flash it up on the screen now, and it came out really strange and bandy for no apparent reason whatsoever. We got a really clean, beautiful lift, and then when I went and put the direct dyes onto it, it just came out like the stairways to heaven. But that subsequently faded and left Laura actually with quite a lot of longevity, which she normally doesn't get. So although we will be doing a bit of a refresh, it probably actually is in better shape than it would be normally at this point. And it's been about 3 weeks since I did Laura's hair. So what we're going to do is we'll pick a few colours that are akin to probably what we've got now, and we'll talk a little bit about having brightly coloured hair. What we're going to do, because Laura has got a bit of a natural root in there, we're going to use a really like dark blue at the root just to kind of diffuse the colour out a little bit. And then we're going to use some of this existing colour, because as we said, it hadn't faded too much. And then we're going to do like a halfway between red and pink on some pieces, and we're going to leave some of the existing pinky lilac in there anyway. But Laura and I were just discussing actually that it's 10 years ago, literally this week, that I first did a bright, vivid colour on Laura's hair, which I'll put on the screen now. And you know, I think back then Laura was sort of breaking up for school or something, she was just saying, and she was like, you know, we was doing a hair platinum before that, and I don't know if it was me or her that had come up with the idea, or maybe a collaborative idea, that we would put on this sort of ready colour that you see now on the screen. It's never stopped, and actually, you know, Laura, when you see her in her weekend wear, is extremely brightly coloured. Just generally now it's become a bit of a thing for her, and you know, bright colours are Laura's bag. Her house, her clothes, everything is brightly coloured. In fact, Laura and I know each other so well. Laura bought my flat off me I don't know, 8 years ago or something, which was so random back then, but yeah, she doesn't live there anymore. She's subsequently moved, but yeah, you know, we definitely have got to know each other quite well over the years, and we know each other's partners and stuff like that. So you know, it's become more than a hair appointment. It's very much sort of, you know, how's it going type of scenario. So yeah, it's a very, very long-standing client relationship. And but one that's been littered with hair experimentation at the core of it, really. And Laura allowing me to experiment with all the different techniques that have emerged, a bit like the colour melting that we're doing at the moment, and all those kind of things. As they've come out, Laura has been game to try them. With kind of without a blink of an eye. I'll say to her, I've seen this new technique, can I try it? Yeah, straight away. And it's just been immensely helpful to have someone like that as a client, and be able to practice on them, because obviously I think everybody that watches me reasonably regularly probably knows that I enjoy practicing in my own time, never mind when it's the clients. But to have a client that the pressure's on, you've got to get it right. And even though Laura is very laid back with the end result, as we'll just talk about in just a second, on Laura's 30th birthday, for example, we had a real boo-boo, which we'll put up on the screen now. It probably seems okay unless you know what we were going for. And we were trying to do like a pink and a purple, and we got orange and blue.
And that was the second time running
as well. That was the second time we tried. And so Laura...
for 6 hours that day.
Yeah, there you go, 6 hours in the hairdressers. And these things happen, and I was really willing to try and fix it. Laura was really willing to try and kind of hang out till the job was done. And it wasn't fun specifically. And I remember the very next day, it was a Sunday, I'd done Laura's hair on the Saturday, and I saw Laura walking down the road, and it was the day of her 30th birthday. My partner, who's a hairdresser, had turned around to me and said, "Did you do that?" Which I had to put my hands up to and say yes. Which wasn't ideal. But Laura was very forgiving, and she came back and she let me do many different colours on her since then. We've done rainbow hair for Pride, which was great, and we made a video out of that, and it used to be in the shop window at North Lane, and displayed on this monitor, and some of Laura's students would see that and say, "That's Mrs. Kelsey," which was very funny. And anyway, so we've done a lot of stuff, but we're not here to talk about the good stuff. We're actually here to talk about the disasters, the things that have gone wrong, the times that like Laura's 30th. I think that was probably the crescendo.
That was the worst.
That was the worst. Yeah, that was the worst. So we got to, because I've said it before a million times, guys. I'm less than perfect. And so it's and I really want you guys to fully understand that I too I've learned from my mistakes, and if you're making mistakes out there and you're really struggling with your career at the moment, and you just wish that it was a bit easier, or that why do I keep getting these complaints, why do these things keep happening? Because you're in the learning phase, because you're learning something new, you're maybe taking on something that you've never done before, and of course when you're in the learning phase, ultimately you'll make mistakes, even if you've been a hairdresser for a really long time. And I think that's a really important thing to remember, is that at the end of the day we all make mistakes, and that's fine. But I mean, like, there's been other times where I've done Laura's hair and it's gone less than desirably. I think another standout moment was when we put red on Laura's hair, and all of the back of Laura's hair just went green. We couldn't explain. I couldn't explain it. I couldn't tell Laura why that had happened. It was just the way it was. That was probably another 6-hour hair salon trip.
Yeah. Quite like green though, so it's okay.
Well, Laura's partner Andy, I don't think he ever expects Laura to come back from the hair salon within 6 hours, and if she does, then it's a miracle. And that's the other thing, guys, right? When you're dealing with or want to be any of these colours yourself, for instance, you're thinking about having vivid colours put in your hair, you've got to acknowledge that these are extremely time consuming jobs. They are hugely time consuming. You know, Laura needs to have her hair re-bleached every few weeks. She then obviously gets an extreme amount of fade in between each of the services. So let's go to Laura. Let's ask Laura. I mean, Laura, within the journey of between appointments, your hair can go any manner of shades, and people regularly ask you, "Have you recoloured your hair?"
Yeah.
Now that's obviously, you know, not a bad thing, but you don't necessarily know if they're thinking it looks good or bad. They're just asking you, "Have you recoloured your hair?" Tell us about the journey in between each appointment.
Yeah, I think the really interesting thing is, even if we put the same colour on as we had before, you can't predict necessarily how it's going to fade. I mean, the seasons make a big difference, and how much you're washing your hair. So I try and only wash my hair every 4 days because that makes the colour last longer. Try and wash it in cold water, but this time of year, I must admit, I do sometimes use warm, which again will affect the way that the colour lasts. I mean, this colour, the funny thing is, pink and kind of purpley colours normally go quite quickly on my hair. They fade quite a lot. But obviously we just worked it out. This has been about 5.5 weeks since I had this done, and it's stayed massively. There's been times that we've put like a pink colour on before, and 3 weeks later it's gone. And my hair likes to go back to blue. Blue is its favourite colour. So any blue on my hair will last forever. And even if there's a hint of blue, like on the end,
or any blue on Laura's skin.
Yeah, blues lasts forever. But some colours will stay, others will not. I mean, we've learnt you can't ever put yellow on my hair. It doesn't even last the appointment. It's like,
it washes out in the basin.
Yeah. Even as I'm leaving, even if you can see a bit of yellow, by the time I've got home and then a wind or something, it's gone. It doesn't like it. And so then obviously blue comes back always on that one. But there's sometimes no rhyme or reason, as we've said. You've got to be really relaxed about it not looking exactly how you thought it would. Sometimes it looks better. There's been that rainbow hair that I absolutely love. I think that's my favourite all time hair, and it lasted really well as well. Most colours anyway. The yellow went quickly. But you've just got to be kind of quite chill about what's happening with your hair, and also quite willing to change your routine. I like to swim in the sea. That affects it massively too. So you've got to kind of either think about that or accept that it will change the way that your hair looks. And I think if you're too precious about it, and the fact that certain parts of my hair will fade quicker than others as well, so it won't necessarily look uniform, it's not really for you. People do ask me all the time, "Oh, I really like your hair, have you recoloured it?" Like I got that last night at the pub, and actually I was like, no, it's just fading out. I think the parents at my school think I must spend all my money on hair because they think I colour it every week. I actually asked one once, and they were like, "Yeah, we just thought that you re-dye it every week." No, it's just fading. But that shows what a great hairdresser James is, because it looks like professional colour weeks after the natural fade.
It's nothing to do with me, by the way. It's just the way it goes.
But I think that kind of being quite relaxed about it, and also we've had times that James was saying about how we have to bleach my hair. That's gone wrong before in terms of we've overdone it after
breakage and stuff like that.
Several sessions, not really in one, and it breaks. My hair's quite weak at the back. It always breaks in the same place. We've had that quite a lot, and sometimes you have to give your hair a bit of a break, and we've done darker colours over my natural colour.
A bit like what we're doing today.
Yeah, as a bit of a dye break. But also you've got to be willing to come back quite often if you want to keep bleaching your roots, because the longer you leave it, the worse it is for your hair. So there's that to factor in, because it's not cheap either. No. Time and money factors. In fact, my husband likes to complain about. We don't share money. I'm gonna say that now. So I'm like, it's my money. I'll do what I want. But he can't believe how much money I spend on my hair. But it's really a big part of my identity, and it's a lot about how I feel about myself. So I'm willing to put the money and the time into it. But if you're not, it's not really something to do on a whim.
So well, let's just have a quick talk about the technique, because it's, we may as well, while we're here and I'm doing a technique, we may as well talk about what I'm doing today. You've probably seen this technique before, but we'll just recap it. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome, and you probably haven't seen this technique from me. We're doing a root stretch style on the roots here. I always find it's quite a good idea to have one continuous root colour. So I always go in usually with this one block root colour that we do a stretch, and then we do multicoloured on the ends. Now that's really for the longevity of Laura's hair rather than anything else specifically. It's so that it has some fade at the root area uniformly, whereas if we did like block colouring, for instance, like 90s block colouring, which I think will make a comeback in 2022 and 2023. I think it's going to become more and more of a thing, because we need some alternatives to balayages and root stretches, and so we're going to see much more of that, but they won't grow out quite so well. I put a block colour that I did on Laura's hair once on the screen right now, and that probably, I don't really know how that faded out. That was the one where it zigzagged departing, where it was pink and blue.
Well, it did stay quite well.
Did it? Yeah, it worked out okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to bear in mind, that if you do block colours, they tend not to be quite as consistent in terms of the fade, but again, not the end of the world either. There is obviously a lot of scope for different things. I mean, Laura, when she was interviewing for her headship, we did her hair half and half. What colours were they?
It was pink and blue.
Pink and blue, yeah, one half pink, one half blue. I'll put that up on the screen now. And so, Laura and I really have been on a journey with all of the different colours. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing once I've finished applying. I'm just coming in with my comb. I'm just tilting my comb towards me at approximately 45 degrees, and I'm just combing through the sections and just helping to distribute the product a bit further down the hair. And it's just helping to change the saturation, so there's more product here at the root area and less as it travels down, and that helps to fade the two products together. So we're just going to go on to actually talking about stylistic choices. I mean, look, we live in Brighton, Laura. Everybody's pretty laid back about multicoloured hair here. No one really bats an eyelid, and I think this is one of the things that makes me laugh. And Laura, what is one of the things that people say to you about your hair? I'm gonna prompt you. They call you
Rainbow teacher.
Rainbow teacher. So it's defining her. And also some people say to her, "You're brave." And
I get a lot of
and things like that. And I think to myself, well, that's quite interesting in a place where people are quite accepting of people with brightly coloured hair. Now, in other locations, even I'm sure that it would be quite challenging to walk down the street with brightly coloured hair without someone shouting something stupid at you. But here's the thing, and I would like to get Laura's thoughts on this. People ask me all the time, "Oh yeah, I'd like to have brightly coloured hair, but what colour would suit me?" It's not about it suiting you. Who's got blue hair? Who's got pink hair? Nobody. So Laura, how do you deal with those kind of things from people that Laura does go to other parts of the country, and people do look at her like she's got two heads.
I do.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's interesting because I do get it. "Oh, you're brave" a lot, and I think, "Oh gosh, I haven't gone off to fight for a war. I've got colourful hair. It's not exactly nobody forced me." And people go, "Oh, I wish I was brave enough to do that." And I always say, "You should just do it." And they go, and then they say, "Oh, but I don't know if that would suit me." And it's like, I have my hair all sorts of colours. There isn't one that I've gone, "Oh gosh, I look awful in that." It's all about the way that you wear it and the attitude that you've got. I mean, I don't think it even matters the clothes that you wear, really. I mean, I clash all the time. That's the whole point. But you know, you don't think, oh, I can't do my hair red because I wear a lot of, I don't know, green. You've just got to go for it because it's about the confidence you wear it in. But I do get, I mean, I work in a rural school, and as James has already said, I went for my interview with brightly coloured hair, and we did discuss it actually. It's the first time we discussed. I said, oh, we had this conversation when I was like, I've got an interview, and we discussed about whether we should tone it down a bit. And then I thought, no, you know what? This is who I am, and if they don't want me like this, then I'm not right for them. And actually, I thought if I tone it down for the interview, then I could probably never really go back to it. Whereas, you know, they employed me with blue and pink hair. That's meant I could do every single colour under the rainbow. As I said, blue tends to be the one that stays the longest. So locally, I'm known as the head teacher with blue hair. Originally from rural Oxfordshire, and my parents have now moved to Norfolk, which actually I find I get less looks. But when I used to go back to Oxfordshire, I'd walk down the street, and this is the same if we're going on a walking holiday, and people are staring at me, and I get really paranoid, and I said to my husband, why are they staring at me? And then I remember, oh yeah, I've got multicoloured hair, and it's not something they've probably seen a lot of. You know, I've got something on my face, so, you know, I'm like my you know, skirt stuck in my knickers or something. But no, it's just the hair. To be fair, I don't have many negative comments. Maybe it's because of the way that I wear it with confidence, and maybe because I'm quite tall. And
Laura's like as tall as me,
yeah.
easily.
People might think that I might have something to say to them if they had a go at me, which I probably would. But I do, even in Brighton, I get looks, but normally like positive looks. And what's really lovely is I think I was coming back from my hair. Actually, I think it's the day after I'd had my hair done this time, and I was walking, and I was in quite a colourful outfit. I was walking along the street, and this kind of, I don't know, maybe he was like 13, 14, 15-year-old boy with I think his family was looking at me, but smiling. And then as like I passed, he's like, oh, cool hair. And I was like, oh, thanks. And then he was saying to his family as I passed, did you see what she was wearing? Did you see her hair? And I thought that was really sweet, because it's quite, you know, an awkward age. And he was still like, oh, you look really cool.
Oh, great.
I sometimes get stopped by foreign students who want a picture of me. I think it's one of the, they have to go and do a treasure hunt around Brighton, and I think having a picture with somebody with colourful hair is one of the things on the list, because I've got another friend who gets stopped all the time as well, who's got colourful hair, which is quite funny. So Brighton that you're an item on the treasure hunt.
Find Laura.
Yeah, well, yeah. But yeah, no, I don't tend to get negative comments. I suppose I'm grateful for that, but it wouldn't stop me. I just think they're prats. Because I think it's really great that you can express who you are, and I think it's what I really like is, as a head teacher, I think it also shows children that professionals don't have to necessarily fit into a certain mould, which I think with inclusion and diversity is even more important these days. You know, I may not look what people would assume a head teacher would look like.
And really, really straightforward technique, and one that I use a lot for like balayages, really, but it works really well on vivid colours to boot. And what you need to do is get yourself a reasonably large section, and then always make sure you've got a foil up on the top there to protect the hair, the ends, from getting the root colour on the ends of your hair. Take your section, weave through your section, take reasonably large sections, but equally make sure you leave behind plenty of hair in the section, and then apply your product. Overlap the two colours at the point of where you stretched it down with your comb, and then just feed the product through the hair like so. It's really simple. The only thing I'd say is just make sure you give your hands a little wipe in between each section, so have a nice disposable towel, or cleaning towel to hand, not your finest, whitest hair washing towels, if you have hair towels in your salon or at home, or whatever you've got, because they will end up absolutely ruined. So we'll take another section and we'll just work our way up like this. Now if we wanted to, once we've taken our weave out, so let's do a weave through this section for example's sake. Once we've taken our weave out, we could colour this piece of hair a different colour should we wish to. We've done something like that or similar to that many times before on Laura's hair. But this time we really like the colour because, as we said, it hasn't faded hugely, so it's really nice to have that extra dimension that's already there and utilise what we came in with rather than always adding colour to the hair. It's not necessarily necessary every single time, and it's just getting that product through the hair nice and evenly, and making sure that the sections are roughly a similar size so you don't get too much inconsistency around the head. So if you have 1.5 inch wide sections when you start, try and make sure that you're consistent with that throughout the journey, otherwise you can get like less or more colour in one quadrant, which might look a bit random. So yeah, try and stick to what you started with in terms of section sizes, etc. Don't work too high up into the root area though. What I will say is if you do that, you'll start to bring the blue down too far, and then you'll start to darken your end colour. If you want that result, if you want that effect, that would be fine. You might even want to go in with a slightly lighter secondary colour to allow for that, and that's something that you can bear in mind as you work through these techniques, or as you get more into them. You can think to yourself, right, okay, I've got quite a dark root colour on, I'm going to use a light pink colour and I'm going to overlap the root colour, I'm going to feed it down and mix them into each other and kind of mix it on the hair, which is something that I think when these techniques very first came out was something that a lot of people were doing before you saw more people kind of perfecting the root stretch before they apply the end colour. So there is a lot less work to do if you get that root stretch right in the beginning. But apart from that, it's super simple really. So, colours all applied, only take a few minutes to cook. These direct dyes just stain the hair pretty much instantly. Up once we've dried it, and I'll show you the finished result, and hopefully this has been insightful, useful and interesting. And if it has, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you in a second for the finished results. Okay, so here we have the finished result, a lovely blue into a really nice purple lilac, a bit deeper than a lilac. You put some of this beach shake on it, whatever that is, just to give it a bit of oomph. Laura's hair is nice and flat, naturally, very shiny, very flat hair, but I hope you've enjoyed these insights. As I mentioned previously, I hope this has maybe give you some informed choices to make with your hair colour decisions, or if you're a stylist, it might help you lead people to make more informed decisions with what they do there. Thank you very much, Laura.
You're welcome.
And you'll probably see Laura again at some stage, maybe just probably the top of her head. But I hope you've enjoyed Laura's insights and hearing it from the client's perspective, which I think is so valuable, and it's quite often overlooked what the client actually goes through. So some stuff to take away with you into Christmas and the new year, and we'll see you again very soon for some more Life of Hair.